All right. Come on in, come on in, come on in, come on in, come on in. Let's talk about it. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday to everybody, man. And look, we got a special guest, man. We got the one and only, man. Kendell Holloway is back with us, man. So we got a couple things to talk about. Spring camp is winding down, and I feel like the picture is becoming a little bit clearer now. Kendell, what's the word?
It's good. Last week of spring ball, big things out of that scrimmage that just happened at the Coliseum this past Saturday. Vibes are high. Talked to a couple of recruits just about what happened on Tuesday, and same thing all around. High intensity, high energy. Guys just flying around, competition, which that's what you want, right? You bring in this whole group of freshmen. You got returning guys. It feels like there's more depth at a lot of positions, more than there has been at any point that Lincoln Riley's been here. So at that point, you want that competition, right? You wanted to see the depth start to settle around a little bit, and it's doing something right now.
Absolutely. Roy, how you doing, man? How's Micah doing, man? Shout out to your son. Michael's now at Purdue. Big shout out to you. How you doing, man? Good to see you, fam. And tell Micah what's up. I want to get into this because I feel like I was talking to somebody earlier today about this, and I kind of did a video about the pictures becoming clearer and the depth. I went as far back to 3, but as far as our drop off, and I kind of discussed it last week. But do you feel like we can go as far as to the thirds? As far as being deep,
3 deep, to the 3 deep. At some positions, I think they can.
Okay.
Like receiver, I think there's a lot of young, like really young talent, right? Obviously, I think at the end of the day, it's probably going to be around Terrell Anderson and Tanook Hines as your outside guys.
Right.
But Feaster's going to come in here. Feaster's going to play. Dixon White has been good. He's going to play. Sean Baker's name gets brought up essentially every day at this point, right?
Yeah.
The coaches are talking about him. The vets are talking about him. You ask any veteran on offense, defense, you ask about who's standing out. It's a lot of Trent Mosley, and it's a lot of Sean Baker.
So real quick, while you on that, I know about Trent Mosley, and I got big love for Sean Baker. We know how explosive, and I kind of equated him to like Mekhi Lemon and Amon-Ra St. Brown. But what is it about Sean Baker as far as what you see from his route running and his skill set, pass catching ability that you can see that's kind of standing out for him?
It feels like he's like getting it back to his like best self, right? So he was a guy, he was obviously, but he knows that he was their first commit, right? So there's obviously something there for that you get offered in whatever it was, 8th or 9th grade when he got offered and you committed as a sophomore. Like USC saw something in you. And he gets hurt his junior year, starts to work his way back. He was good for Sierra Canyon last year, and it feels like he's really like blossoming into the guy that USC thought he was when they offered him as a sophomore, right? Or when he committed as a sophomore. Riley compared him to Taj Washington today, as far as not necessarily as a skill set wise, because as he said, and I think I agree with I do agree with him as well, is that Taj is a little bit more explosive, right? But the way that he compared him is that they're just consistent, right? They do everything good, right? And that's just feels like with Tron. He's a reliable receiver. He feels like a good 3-level threat. He's a veteran. I mean, not a veteran, but he's been around. Like he played as a freshman. If people remember, he played a lot as a freshman alongside Mekhi Lemon. So he's able to be progress to what he is now. There's a lot of talent, right? This is why I don't think we should pay attention so much to the star system or the star rating with people.
Right.
Again, it doesn't matter anymore, right? It can be used as a metric for like NFL drafts, is what people would use it as. But at the end of the day, just go ball. Right, and that's what Sean Baker's doing. He's going out there and ball. It doesn't matter what his rating is. It doesn't matter how many guys in front of him. He's making his own case. And I think that's why receiver, they can go 3 deep, because they have guys like that.
Absolutely. So, they definitely can go 3 deep. And another guy, coincidentally, they're both from Sierra Canyon. And, some guys, I kind of explained it this way. It's hard for me to explain Madden Reardon, just given the fact that, he's not the biggest guy. But I think some guys, for whatever reason, they have a knack for the ball, and even though the size is not what, the prototype, like some people would suggest and say it is, I just feel like some guys you just can't keep off the field. Do you kind of see that kind of going that way for him? And then we'll talk about some injuries making way for other guys to get opportunities, and we don't have to mention the injuries, though.
He's just a good football player. I think sometimes that's what it is at the end of the day. He's just a good football player. He has a quarterback background, which is why he's cerebral, which is why he has his high IQ. Riley's talked about in the past before why he likes guys with that quarterback background. Bishop Fitzgerald was a guy that had a little bit of a quarterback background, and we saw what he did this past year at safety. The big thing for Madden, obviously, is getting a little bit bigger. He's only about 170 pounds. But skill set wise, mindset wise, just the way he operates, he feels like a guy that can wear the green dot at some point in the future. Just that's the level that he's at as a football player with his just mentality and all that.
Yeah.
It becomes interesting. Yeah, if he can get a little bit bigger, I think he could be part of that 2 deep at safety because of what he's done so far in the spring.
Legit 2 deep.
It becomes a real possibility.
Thing.
Yeah.
I'm feeling you on that. Bobby, hey, thank you very much for the super chat. And John Kinsella, thank you. You said, what's the word? We're back. It's feeling like the peak years. Absolutely. I'm expecting big things from the group. Chad Battley definitely deserves his flowers, and I can't wait to see Patterson. No, I totally agree. And listen, you guys that are in the chat, we are going to open up some calls here in a little bit, but we just kind of want to get through it because I think the picture is becoming clear roster-wise. And so let's get to the offensive line, man. Are there any surprise to you, given the fact that, Trader, some of these other guys are now coming into the fold, some of the guys that are injured, like Justin and all these other guys that it's out in the open now. So it's not a secret, but some of these other guys that are injured, now they're getting some of these guys that are freshmen and guys that were there last year opportunities. Any surprises to you right now?
Not surprises. I think maybe a little validations. As far as it feels like Tobias Raymond is going to play center for them. That's right. I feel like that's the natural position that he's going to play. I know the coaches have talked about, like, as far as what he can be at the next level, center is probably the position that he's going to play. And I agree. He played a lot of left tackle last year, obviously because of Elijah Page's injury, but he's more suited to be interior lineman. I think you can add so much size with him at center.
Yeah.
And again, I don't think that's not a knock against Killian O'Connor. He was good for them. He's a high IQ player.
Yes.
He definitely adds depth for them. And again, like I'm not ever gonna count anybody out. So he could still definitely be in the fold. But he's a guy. But Tobias Raymond, I think, can solidify that center position a little bit more for them. Brett Collier is a guy that gets brought up a lot. Just mentality wise, like he feels like a mid 2000s like Big Ten guard, right?
Right. He's a throwback.
He is a throwback. He's mean. He's nasty. I think playing at IMG had really benefited him because Hansen talked about it too, that they're doing a lot of the same things. Him and Pepe kind of they go together with that they did a lot of the same things they did at USC. Just like the verbiage is different, right? There's obviously tweaks that you'll have at the college level, but what they did at IMG really prepared them for what they can have. There's some interesting battles. Everybody knows that they bring back all 5 offensive linemen, but it's not a guarantee that those 5 guys will be the starters.
That's what we're seeing now, though. It's like, okay, I know O'Connor's hurt, but Tobias Raymond, I guess now that he's in that spot, it just looks like, we already, all of us, I know me, I had a projection of what I thought the offensive line was going to be, and O'Connor was going to be that guy. But now it appears that, whether it's Harry Trader if he's going to play the left guard spot, and then you got, of course, Elijah Page, that's a guarantee, but you're starting to see some of these other guys trying to make their way in, given the fact that I don't think how much room or margin do you think it is for injuries to happen and other guys to be able to come up? I mean, the competition is fierce.
Yeah, I think the good thing, there's never a good thing about injuries, but I think last year created so much depth for them, which is going to pay dividends, I think, for them in the fall, which has kind of allowed them to be a little bit more competitive in the spring, because a lot of these guys have gotten reps. And as we're bringing up names, Zariah Fisher talked today. He's a Penn State transfer defensive end. He brought up Vicona's name at right tackle. We talked about how it was difficult for him to kind of get around him in the beginning. We all know about how big he is. He's about 6'8", 6'9", 375.
Yeah, crazy. That's crazy.
He's massive. Man. And he also brought up Vlad. So there's another freshman for you that's kind of flashing a little bit. So the competition is there. And again, like this is what you build it towards, right? This is like why you stack. This is how you stack recruiting classes. Right. This is what it always should have looked like at USC, especially when you keep kids local, especially when you're able to go out, nationally, go and get some guys. it's just same at offensive line. It's like this at every position. There's just more competition, and that's just going to bring the best out of everybody.
No doubt, no doubt. Hey, Matt, I appreciate you, man. You said thanks. We'll get Matty up to 100. Hey, look, Matty is making plays, man.
He's balling.
He's balling out, man. And Kendall's been out there. He's been at practice. He's been seeing him, man. And this kid is absolutely, like I said, he just has a knack for the ball, man. And it's incredible what he's doing. Robert, thank you very much. You said you've been hearing some O-line changes. What's the good word? Yeah, the O-line changes, I think, is due to some of the guys being out and other guys getting the opportunity to shine right now. Harry Trader, what's your thoughts on him since he's had the opportunity being there at that left guard spot?
He feels like we're watching like Tobias Raymond's story again.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
Like as far as like a guy who's moved around a little bit, right? He played tackle. He's playing guard now. He's a versatile guy, which is I think they've done a really good job of putting emphasis on that. That's why Tobias is at center, why he was able to play left tackle, moving guys around because they created some versatility. And I think you're seeing that with Treater at left guard.
Yeah.
He's been around for a while. I mean, this is his third year, right? Time to develop, just blossom. And I think that's the hope for when you recruit some of these kind of 3 and 4, like low end 4-star recruits, is that they develop and blossom in your program. And that's what some of these guys have become. That's what Christian Pierce was. That's what Braylon was. And Treater looks like he's the kind of the next guy in line for that.
No doubt. I'm going to read some of these in between as we talk. He says, I like what I'm seeing on this team and what's being reported. You guys definitely hype me up. When you talk about the team, you guys do great. Hey, fight on. I appreciate you very much, Bobby. So yeah, that's the offensive line spot. And, I think right now you can kind of say it's safe to say we can go at least 2 deep on that and be safe. I said 3 deep because it seems like we have some depth. Do you think we can go as far as 3 deep?
At some positions, there's really interesting guys in there like Aaron Dunn at right tackle.
Right.
He's, again, I think we've talked about his story multiple times and people have heard it. Him out there in the Iowa game, going through a workout in the rain by himself. Hanson talked about him in a spring press conference, and he's like, when we're running sprints, Aaron Dunn's always at the front of the line. He's a guy who's really committed to his craft. He works hard. We talked to him for the first time yesterday, and that was awesome. He's a really good kid. He's from Utah, high spirits, high energy, just loves to compete. And those are guys you like to watch out for, right? Those are the guys that there's a lot of talent. Like, right, he was a top 150 recruit. So he's got a lot of talent. Yeah. He's blossoming. He just loves the game of football. So I think those are the guys that allow them to just have more depth at these positions.
Absolutely. No doubt. So now I feel like the defensive line is kind of the hardest to project right now. I don't know. I've been even hearing stories about Jadi Abasari going to maybe the outside. I don't see that, but I mean, what are your thoughts overall? Like where we at with the defensive line, and now Jakeem is back. I heard somebody say that he still looked like he has an extra pep in his step.
Yeah.
How you feeling about that, and where you think? What do you think you see it projecting out? I don't know. You might not want to name what you think the starters would be, but what are you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we don't know yet. Obviously Wayful, you love to hear that he's doing really good out there. Former number one recruit. As Ryan Fisher really talked about, he talked about just he's like Wayful eats like a pro. He's like everything he has on his plate. You look on his plate, like everything is healthy. He's like he eats the same thing every day. He's like committed. Like again, just another guy who's committed to his craft. He's like he's 6'6", 265, and he's got a 6-pack. He's like, I've never seen that before. And just
that's great. Yeah, he's crazy.
Exactly. He's again. We talk about with Breck and like that old school like Big Ten offensive lineman. To the other side, Wayful's like that as a defensive end. Keep hearing about him. Really good things about him. Cameron Crawford is a guy who's had a good spring. Jakeem Stewart, you brought up him. He's back. Tom, there's been good reviews about him. The 4-star freshman out of Mater Dei. You would like to see again, like I think we haven't gotten a ton of reports on kind of what that position looks like. There's a lot of projection. There's definitely a lot of talent. They definitely invested in that position. Vance Summerlin was a big addition in the portal for them. They've got depth. I think we'll get a little bit more of a picture in the fall.
Yeah, and I think what Brett Summerlin did to USC, well, everybody really. He was a pretty effective guy when he was at Michigan State. I think
he was a hassle for USC last year.
Yeah, he was a problem.
He's turned on the film. Yeah, he's He's really good at taking on double teams and like
Absolutely.
holding and resetting line of scrimmages, which they didn't have that last year.
No,
and he's a veteran. He has a lot of experience. That's a good depth piece for them for sure.
Absolutely. So when you look at the defensive back room, and you know, I know a couple of guys are out, but it appears that there are a couple of guys that are emergent. Maybe, you know, you would think that, like I said before, Chasen Johnson and Williams, those two guys are going to be, and Marcellus Williams, he is going to be Marcellus Williams. He's a baller, but it appears that R.J. Sermon, it looks like he's kind of doing his thing and he's kind of looking the part. Like, what are your thoughts on him as far as that cornerback position and really competing?
Yeah, I'm really high on Sermons. Again, he's a guy that reclassified. If you ever knows the story, he reclassified late last summer. So he arrived like a week or two before fall camp began. And I think they knew the plan that he was kind of, you know, he was going to redshirt this year. He's going to use this year instead of playing my senior year at Rancho Cucamonga. Let me develop with Coach True, Coach Reed, and, you know, be prepared for the spring. Like, that just kind of seems like that was the plan from the get. He's bigger this spring. When we hear, like, if you've heard like Gary Patterson and Coach Gonzalez talk about like what they want in a DB, like length, a guy that can run. Every time, like, I feel like they describe him, it feels like they're describing Sermons, right? Wow. Like, Sermons is like that. He's got that good. He's 6'1", 195. He was a talented sprinter. He made the state in 200 and 100 when he was in high school. Yeah. It just feels like when they're talking about a corner, like they're describing him. Obviously, that's not a guarantee that he's going to be a starter or what his position will look like, but it just feels like every time I hear him talking about him, it feels like they're going that direction. I like what they're doing at corner. Marcellus Williams feels like he's progressing a little bit. Coach Riley talked to him about him a lot last week. It feels like he's a little bit more vocal to this spring. I've seen him like coaching up guys, so you feel him a little bit more comfortable, which is something that you would want in a guy who's in his third year with the program. Jaden Crowder, I feel like, is an underrated guy. I'm not necessarily sure that he's going to play this year, but he's played good. He's been flashing. Same with Brandon Lockhart. He's a little bit banged up right now, but he's been flashing a little bit. And then obviously the two injured guys that are enjoying the mix in the spring. In the fall, Jontes Williams and Chasen Johnson. So I think they're in a good position right now. You like what they have talent wise. Rock Hill's been very good this spring.
Yeah, he's different.
Yeah, that's the position battle that it's not going to be settled, I think, in fall camp. That's like they're going to play, obviously, these 3 group of 5 teams to begin the season. And you're going to use those games as live reps to kind of determine the position battle. Do you remember like sorry to cut you off real quick.
No,
do you remember
good.
The Alabama early Nick Saban days when they had like quarterback position battles? Anybody remembers watching them? They would use those games as like quarterback competitions.
Absolutely.
It was like you're going to play one half and the other guy's going to play the other half. Yep. And I feel like it may not necessarily look like that for USC, but I think they're going to have a lot of positions like receiver, defensive line rotation, corner, that they're going to use those games as to kind of get what the rotations going to look like, and they'll get more of an idea for the Rutgers game, because they're going to play Oregon the next week.
No, that's a great point. I definitely could see that. I mean, it's just like when you look at the talent, it's kind of hard to kind of out anybody. Well, see anybody being out right now, especially like you look at the talent like Everett Hill, but then I think of some of the guys that the experienced guys like Chasen Johnson and really Williams. It's just kind of hard to see those guys. So it's like, may the best man win. With
that's
that
what you want. That's what you they put a lot of resources into these cornerback classes the last couple of years, and they're doing it again in the 27 class. Again, they're shaping it up to have these position battles. There's a lot of 4 and 5 star recruits around. There's a lot of talent. Really like what Coach Reed is doing with them. Like you said, the best man is going to win out, and that's what you want at these positions.
Absolutely. So the safety position, we talked about it a little bit with Matt Reardon and what he's doing and how phenomenal he's coming along as a freshman.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see a freshman even maybe breaking the starting role? I mean, because when you look at Christian Pierce, and I know him and Urlacher both has kind of been kind of hampered a little bit, but do you see it's kind of one of those things where you kind of gonna have to decide the same as well as the other guys, huh? As far as the cornerbacks, as far as the position.
You're talking with safeties as far as the depth is going to look like?
Right.
Yeah, so, you said it right there. Pierce and Urlacher feel like they're going to be the starters for them. Been seeing Christian Pierce moving around a little bit more, which is a good sign. He's been out with the shoulder injury. So we saw him work, like, what was it, last week, working out a little bit with Gary Patterson on the side, kind of moving around. So that's a good sign. Prophet Brown, I think, is the guy to keep it. I think that's the name to kind of keep an eye on at safety. He's played nickel and corner primarily in his USC career, but it feels like they need more depth at some of these positions. So he's there. Talked about it before. Tristan Castro is playing a little bit more safety. D. Reddick is playing safety. They're trying to create more depth at that position, right? It's not necessarily a lot of guys that play safety in the past, and they're trying to. That's why the spring position, this period, is so important. And I think that's why having someone like Gonzalez is really important for them, because how much emphasis he just puts on technique and little details and that kind of stuff, and just coaching them up. So again, it's going to shape out again. Oh, and then Gallegos. I almost forgot. We're talking about other people.
If you watch it,
we're talking about safeties, man. I apologize, man. We're talking about safeties, and I almost skipped over Marquise Gallegos, man.
Right.
That is my apologies. He's no. We talk about players that I like to watch.
He covers a lot of space.
Yes, in a hurry. Yes. He's 100 miles an hour every single time. He's a little bit banged up right now. So again, that goes back to kind of get Brown and Reddick and some of these other guys more familiar with the position and stuff like that this spring. Again, they're going to shape it up as far as depth wise. That's going to shape out a little bit more in the fall, and we'll kind of see just as same thing with these early games, how they kind of shape out and who goes in, who progresses. You just like to see who separates himself, and that's what these periods are for.
It's going to have to be some separation, man, because there's a lot of guys that have some serious ability right now, man, and it's different. We haven't seen this type of talent, man. It's iron sharpening iron in years. So look, hey, you guys, we're going to open this up. I'm going to put this link in the chat, man, and we're going to take a couple calls, man. Anything that you got for Kendell, you guys are more than welcome to go ahead and ask him, man. So we'll open this up, man. But I think the stock should be way up right now, Kendell, as far as USC is concerned. I'm gonna take this first caller.
Let's do it.
Let's see, Conrad.
Hello,
my guy.
Man, what's up, my man? How you doing?
Good.
What you got for us?
I have a question for you and Kendell.
Okay.
What's up?
Do you think Jakeem Stewart will be the next Mean Joe Green?
Oh wow. How do you even know who Mean Joe Green is?
That's a throwback.
I mean, wow. Yeah, he's that type of guy, man. Mean Joe Green is a Hall of Famer, man. And yeah, Jakeem is one of those guys. He's just a unique talent. He was what I call a super freshman. Already shined. He got freshman All-American last year. I think he's only going to improve from that. He's going to pick up where he left off. Had a little injury, but I think he's coming back big time, man. What's your thoughts, Kendell?
Yeah, I like Jakeem Stewart. Especially just his mental makeup. If you ever heard him talk, like, he sounds like he's been in the league for 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
He's very mature. This past year was really important for him, especially because he hadn't played live football in 2 years. And like you said, he was hurt the whole year. He had the stress fracture. He's getting a little bit more healthy now. He was a freshman All-American. He was playing on a snap count. He's those guys that you feel like you got to snag in the South that changes like the whole trajectory of the defensive line.
Absolutely.
That just disrupts the game, and it feels like they haven't had those guys in the past. And going to New Orleans and grabbing somebody like that feels like he's next in line to do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Mean Joe Green. That's a high comparison.
That's crazy.
I don't know.
That's some throwback type stuff. I don't even know how you know who Mean Joe Green is, man. That's unbelievable to me. You be asking me some incredible questions. I will say that. Anything else you got for us?
Yes. Do you think with our recruiting class, someone has a chance to be the next Clay Matthews?
Clay Matthews.
Sheesh. Oh man, Clay Matthews. Wow.
Setting the bar high, but I mean that's what you want, right? You want them to be back in this
absolutely
the peak hero, so you want somebody to be like that.
Are you talking about the guys that are there right now? The 26th
Yeah,
class?
like right now. Like that just came in. Like, do you think?
Yeah, I think Talanoa Ely has an opportunity.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah,
I was gonna say him.
Yeah. Talanoa Ely, you got a couple of guys. I mean, I like even Sean Scott. I think the very underrated guy is Taylor Johnson. Super underrated. But if I had one guy to pick, I would say Talanoa Ely.
Yeah, I would pick him too. 6'3", 225, can play. He can rush the passer. He can play an off-ball linebacker. He kind of does a little bit of everything. No, yeah, he's the classic linebacker that you want right there. You're setting the bar high. You're setting the bar high.
This kid is
Clay Matthews.
Hey, hey, are you sure your parents are not feeding you these questions right now, man?
Yeah, I'm sure.
This is credit.
That's ball knowledge. You gotta give him respect. That's ball knowledge.
Serious ball knowledge. So I appreciate you, man. I'm gonna take some more of these calls, man.
All right, bye.
Hey, Fido.
Appreciate you.
Stephon, you up next. This is a question for Kendell.
What's up?
You think Alex Graham would hold a starting role this season with how deep the cornerback room is? Also, who will be better, Walker or Stevens?
I'll start with Graham. So Graham's going to start at nickel. I think I've told you in the past that. So I used to cover Alabama when they had Malachi Moore and they had Brian Branch at nickel. And when I watch Alex Graham, like that's who he reminds me of. Like he's hyperactive. You know, he covers well. He's in the box. He plays a little bit of safety. He plays deep right. He can blitz. He's a guy. You talk about the Coach True effect, right? He's really packed on some muscle this spring. He's, I guess, what Gary Patterson envisions as a nickel, as a guy who's really, in the run support and can cover. They're putting a real emphasis on him. I've noticed that in practice with Gonzalez and Carter, especially just getting him reps over and over again. Communication, eye discipline, AG always coming back up. He played good for him last year. I think he was projected to start at nickel before he had the injury, obviously before the season opener.
Right.
But those games at the end were very, very valuable for him. And you saw the progression as he went. He was much better in the Oregon game than he was in Iowa. He's much better in UCLA than he was against Oregon. He's much better in the Alamo Bowl than he was against UCLA. Like you saw the progression with him. You saw why the coaches raved about him before the season started. He's just continuing to progress, and nickels change games.
Absolutely.
If you have a strong nickel, a nickel can change the game. And I think Alex Graham can be that game changer for USC.
No, I totally agree. Totally agree with that. Let me get this next one. Stephon, how you doing, man?
Oh, man, what's the deal, Jay? What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing?
Oh, man, everything is great, man. Appreciate you coming on, man.
Oh, man, you already know I'm going to support the channel, man. That's all day. So I just want to start off by saying, 4 is down. UCLA girls got to get beat tomorrow. That's going to make my day. And I'm pretty sure I ain't the only one to feel that way because I don't want them to feel like they got to take, our shine or whatever. But anyway, I just want to say, like, as far as our D line, man, I just feel like if we can get that kid, is it Jamal Jarrett? Am I saying his name right?
Yeah.
Man, if we can get him and Jakeem Stewart, like if we can get up stout up front, all we need really is the D line and just to throw off the quarterback timing, man, and give our corners a little bit of time, whatever. I feel like we'll be all right. I kind of agree with you with that RJ Sermon, though. I think he gonna be one of them ones. So is they got him locked in at corner, or is he projected to be like a safety or something?
No, he's locked in at corner. Again, as far as what the position is going to look like, we really do have to wait until the fall until Jontez Williams and Chasen Johnson get in the mix.
Right.
They will get a full picture of them. But again, I really like Sermons. I like what he can do out there, especially just having this year to develop and get bigger and stronger. Really get acclimated with the game. But you said with the defensive line, that's where it starts. That's where
exactly.
That's where football starts. That's where, especially in the Big Ten, that's where football starts. And if those guys can be stout, they can reset line of scrimmages, right? They can move guys. Then going back to the previous question, that's how Desmond Stevens and Jane Walker get better. If you constantly have guys in your lap, your linebackers can only do so much. But if you have those run pluggers, that's why I think Van Summeren is a big pickup for him because he's a guy who can take on double teams, can move guys. You want Jared to be like that. He's 375 out there, right? You want Tom to be that guy for them. So they got the depth. You want to see it built up. Winfield and blossom as a 5-star that he is. Again, if the defensive, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, no, just if they can solidify the defensive line, that changes everything. You laid it out yourself, man. The corners, it can allow them to play more coverages. I feel like because the defensive line not be able to progress last year and really get after the passer, they can only play off coverage. If they can get after them, they can press after guys, and they have the guys to do it. Sermons, Williams, they're putting a lot of emphasis on kick slide technique and pressing guys at the year because they want to be able to do that. That's what Gary Patterson wants to do. And if those defensive line can get after him, that's where Wayfield comes in the mix. So,
man, that's a man child right there. That dude right there. He built different, man. He looked like he big as Brock Lesnar or somebody. that dude is huge, man. Honestly speaking, though, do we really feel like right now, honestly speaking, both of y'all, do we feel like we do as far as D-line, how the SEC and the Big Ten, like do we feel we that deep at the D-line position right now, where we can rotate, where we just bring fresh bodies in? Do we feel like we there yet?
You would like to think. You would like to think. Again, I think
you see them guys in the they hear me pump it up all day.
Yeah,
but you see these guys in the drill. You out there reporting. You see them. I feel like we're there. But what do you think?
Yeah, so we heard good things about them coming out of this past scrimmage. Again, that's a position they really invested in getting guys, right? We talked about Jakeem Stewart. That's not an easy task to go get. Wayfield. So they really put an emphasis on getting those guys.
Yeah. I just want to say one more thing, though.
We're not going to, again, like, we can only get so many reports. I think you really don't know until you hit somebody else.
Absolutely.
Right.
Again, they're not going to play tough competition in the beginning, but I think if you start to see it in these group of 5 games and into the Rutgers game, you'll get a full picture kind of what it starts to look like before we get, the Oregons, the Ohio States, the Indianas. That's what you want to know. But again, we're really not going to know, in my opinion, until they hit somebody else. Because, again, it's the same thing with both ways, offensive line, defensive line. You're really not going to know how much in the trenches you are compared until you play somebody else.
Hey, and Jay, I agree with you on that Taylor Johnson, that the middle linebacker. That's my girl, her daughter. That's her peoples or whatever. And he got a chip on his shoulder, man. He really do. And he had something tragic that happened to him not too long ago. So
you remember I had him on the show, right?
Right.
Yeah, that situation. Yeah,
So he gonna be one of them ones, whatever. But I just want to say this too before I get off here. I just really hope we get to the point, and it's so where we at right now. It's starting to feel like the Pete Carroll days, and I'm talking about in recruiting. I just hope it gets to the point where everybody feel like, okay, everybody's not going to touch the field when it comes to, but just wait your turn. You got the talent. You going because I look at it like this. If you transfer somewhere else, it has to make sense. Make it make sense. If the money is right, okay, I can understand that. And Jay said all the time about, people got families, different situations. I understand that. But if it's to the point where you leaving and you still playing backup, that don't make sense. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is I just hope people be patient, wait their turn, and this is how we really gonna get back to where we was dominating and we was just, we was handling our business. You know what I'm saying? So I really hope they preaching that, like, because there's so much talent. Everybody can't touch the field. Let's just be honest. It's only 11 people on the field. You know what I mean? So let's just hope people wait their turn. I understand you want to play now, whatever the case may be, but all y'all, it's too much talent to just put everybody on the field. So let's just hope that happens, whatever. I know that probably is not realistic nowadays, but I hope that, people can wait their turn and we can just keep this train going and just keep going and just, building on what we got. But that's all I wanted to say though, fellas. You know what I'm saying? I was just tapping in with y'all.
Hey, I definitely appreciate you, man. Definitely.
Oh yeah, most definitely, man. Y'all know I'm gonna stay tuned in. I'm gonna stay in the comments.
Absolutely.
All right, fellas.
Hey,
all right, fight on.
Yeah, be good. Yeah, can I talk about that real quick?
Oh yeah. And then Uncle Boom, you up next.
Yeah. Kids staying around. I think 2 things with that. One, recruiting local kids. I think that's a big part of it.
Right.
I think kids that have grown up around USC. Their parents are USC fans. Their grandparents are USC fans, right? They grew up going to games. They're around. They know all the kids at USC. I think that helps with keeping kids around. And at the end of the day, winning, right?
Absolutely.
They go 10-2 this year. They go 11-1, and they make the playoff. You want to be that next in line. You want to keep fighting because that's what you want to be a part of, right? I talked about it last week. Romero Eisen, what he said, right? He said I didn't play last year because he said when I didn't play last year, I took it as I need to get better. Right,
yeah.
He's a guy who's from Baltimore. He could have easily gone.
I like
back
him
home.
a lot too, by the way.
Yeah, he could have easily gone back home. I'm pretty sure that I imagine people were hitting him up back home. Come back. play for Maryland, play for whoever, he's like, this is where I want to be. And you like having guys with that kind of mindset, and you want more of people like that. And I think that they do have that on this current roster right now. I think especially what they're doing right now in recruiting with Bowden's rule, right? Once you commit, you can't go anywhere else.
Man,
I think that really helps with that.
Absolutely.
Right? Because I think that's why the 26 class is really blossoming right now in the spring. I think that's why they're so close as a unit, because they were just around each other so much, right? I was committed in March. I was committed 2 years ago. Once I was here, and I was locked in. Like, this is where I wanted to be. I know I want to be here, right? I spent 9 months not visiting any other schools, doing anything else. This is where I want to be. And I think all those kind of things kind of helps keep kids stay around. But again, most important thing is winning.
Absolutely. No, I totally agree with you, Kendall, on all that. Uncle Boom, you up next. SC Dubs, you're up next after this. I'm sorry, Uncle Boom, what's up, my man?
What's up, fellas? What's good?
Man, how you doing?
Doing good, guys. Doing good. What's the nature of the topic today? I came in late.
Well, we're talking about USC's roster
what
unfolding.
You got?
And whatever you got for Kendall, man. Kendall's out there, man. But we kind of talk about USC's roster unfolding and how the picture is becoming a little bit clearer. And then, different people have different questions. But what you got for Kendall?
I mean, if anything, from outside of all the clips that have been shown and all of the hype around the freshmen, I know you guys are limited into what you guys are able to see, during the practice days. How are the freshmen acclimating, in your personal opinion, to the college speed of spring practice at the moment?
Seamless. I think this was a big reason why they have such a big group of recruits right now, is because when Bowden first came in, he especially looked at the Southern California landscape, and they thought this was the best crop of kids they've had in Southern California in at least a decade, right? Yeah. And we know every single year there's a massive crop, especially it's a recruiting hotbed, right? Especially the 60, 70-mile radius around Southern California. We see kids every year go off to different schools and in the NFL from Southern California, and Bowden quickly recognized that this is the group that we needed. And then you go out of state, like this is the two part of the Carroll formula, right? You lock down California, you get the high end recruits, and then you go get guys out of state that you think can be first round picks, right? That's where you get your Wayfuls, that's where you get your Winfields, that's where you get Rock Hill and those kind of guys. And they have a lot of those guys on campus right now. And again, I think back to the Bowden's rule, that just having them around so much, like these kids were on campus 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times in the summer. Like they were working out with the players. They were around each other throwing. I know Jonas Williams worked out with Tron Baker and Mark Bowman when he was out here a couple of times. And then they were just around each other. They spent so much time in meetings. Like I think just those little things, right? Getting acclimated to the speed of the game, seeing it so much, learning from your coach, before you even got to USC, and you're starting to see that why they've been able to kind of take off in the spring.
Okay. And then as far as what you're seeing from GP and Mike Eckler and company, with the new additions of the coaching staff, how is that affecting the old players that stayed from last year and the new crop that has arrived this year?
No, great question.
So everybody is locked with Coach Eckler. We can start there. That's a high energy coach. That's somebody that you want to play for. I know Elijah Newby talked about it today, that guys are racing to play special teams, right? Because they want to play for Eckler. And Coach Riley brought up at the beginning of the year, when you hire certain assistant coaches, they don't just affect their position group, they change the program. And I feel like Eckler is that kind of guy. There's 3 facets to the game, right? There's also the special teams unit. And we know last year with the Notre Dame game, allowing the kick return, allowing the punt return against Notre Dame, that they were lacking in some of those areas in those games. You bring in somebody like Eckler that can change games. He did that for Nebraska. He did that in Tennessee. He did it at his previous jobs. He can change games with special teams. And you have somebody like that, and people are buying into his energy. If you see any of my clips, man, you're always hearing Eckler yelling out there, encouraging guys, coaching them up. He's just a passionate guy. You kind of feed off of that. And offense guys feed off of it. The rest of the coaching staff is. So that part is big. And then with Patterson, you just feel you feel his excitement to be back in the game, right? He was a consultant for the past 4 years. He was at Texas. He was at Baylor. after being the coach at TCU for 20 years. You just see his excitement, and he's got his hand on every position group. I think that's the major thing. We knew what he did at TCU. They constantly had 11-win seasons. They were constantly in New Year's Six bowls. They're competing at a high level, and he did that with, JUCO guys and 2-stars and low-end 3-stars and all that. Just imagine what he can do now with 4- and 5-star guys, and he knows that, which is why he's constantly moving around, just interacting and having his hand on every position.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
nice. One more, and then I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the clips that come out of Lincoln Riley when he does the end of practice interviews, he seems a little different. He seems like he's a little bit more,
Yeah.
Alive, and he seems like he's enjoying this a little bit more for some reason. I don't know. That might be just me. I don't know if you guys are seeing that too, but
no, I brought that up to Kendell. I think last time we were on.
Yeah,
I feel like he feels more confident. I think that he kind of knows something that a lot of people don't know, and I feel like, and Kendell, you could kind of speak to it. I think I even asked you if you kind of notice a difference yourself. You
can kind of feel it. Right. Again, it starts with kind of seeing the roster that you have. Especially this freshman group comes in, they bring a lot of energy. This has kind of been the thing with USC is that they everyone looks at it as year 5 Lincoln Riley, right? But they really reset the program in 24. Like 24 is like the landmark. And again, like you got to take some of your lumps what comes at, right? And like they weren't really equipped to be in the Big Ten that first year, and it showed up. You got the 6-6 year. They go 9-3. All people are talking about not making the playoffs, And yes, that's a big thing, especially when you're at USC. You got to get to that level. And again, you can't, from an outside perspective, you can't erase that it was year 4. But it feels like when you're in year 5, like this is like a whole new era. Like it's a whole new USC. Like there's the Caleb Williams, there's the spectacular, there's a Heisman Trophy winner, and then it feels like a more structured program as far as having the NIL collectives in place. Having the coaching staff, I think that they want. Having SoCal kids staying around. It just feels like this is the vision that people have wanted USC to be, that they've been pushing for. Like, again, everyone's been talking about it, right? This is what it looked like in the Pete Carroll days, right? This is like the beginning stages. Like, this is what it looked like. You're getting kids to stay home. You're building that roster up. And I think you can just kind of feel that, and everybody that's around the program kind of knows it.
Uncle Boom, you guys, I'm so glad Kendell's saying all this, because I'm on here all the time, man. And to hear somebody that's on the other side of it actually say this, it's really refreshing, because I told you guys this all the time. Lincoln Riley was essentially going into a gunfight with a straw, not even a knife, with a straw. And, it just wasn't a fair deal to him to bring some of these guys in, whether it was Justice Terry, Isaiah Gibson, all of these guys that we talked about before. We just didn't have the structure and strategy in place.
They weren't ready for that.
Yeah, they weren't ready for it. And now, so I do feel like it's a reset. And this is like, hey, it's ready to rock and roll now. You kind of see, once you do have structure and strategy in place, it's really go time, man. There's nothing anybody can do. They can't compete once we in full go mode.
It's top to bottom, right? I mean, it's an NFL style front office, right? We all know what Chad Bowden's doing, but I know I've been talking to a lot of recruits recently, and the name that always gets brought up is Dre Brown. I don't think that we're talking about enough about his impact, what he's doing in recruiting, getting guys on visits, his interaction with people. It's tough. I mean, Coach Dog, we call everybody. I think the country is starting to realize Coach Dog's effect, especially what he did in 26, and now he's what he's doing in 27. And there's a lot of those guys. You can go up and down. There's a lot of names that I'm obviously not naming, but it's a large group. And then it's an elite recruiting as far as the coaching staff. Chad Savage is one of the best in the game. Coach Reed, Coach Hansen, they're doing a phenomenal job. So when you have that in place, which again they haven't had that before, and you're kind of seeing that's why they're getting some of this talent. And again, at the end of the day, you got to go out and win. But it feels like right now in place, like they have the coaches that can develop the talent they're bringing in.
Absolutely. Anything else you got for us, Uncle Boom?
I mean, bringing up Coach Dog, I think he's about to be USC's next GM once Chad Bowden leaves in a couple years to the NFL.
No
they got
doubt.
to keep him around as long as possible.
Yes, yeah, he's a big part of all those guys, man.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah. You look at it, man. We got some incredible things going on.
Fight on, fellas. Fight on.
Hey, absolutely, fight on.
Appreciate it.
Look, there are a couple of calls that dropped, man. You guys come on back in. I think SC Dubs and a couple other people, man. You guys come back in. My bad. We're gonna try to limit the calls to maybe 2 or 3 minutes. And you guys dropped out. So look, any other questions for Kendell, man? And we appreciate everybody for coming in, man. We got about 300 people in here right now. So I had a couple questions, and let me put that up. I don't agree with this, but I'm just gonna go ahead and get this. But Kendell, this is a question for you. Why this year is massive? USC college football, boom or bust? Like you said, I think it's a reset, but you can go ahead and kind of elaborate on that if you want.
Is it boom or bust for USC?
Yeah.
Kind of feels like it is, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's what comes with the program. I know you and I could talk about kind of the reset, and I think everybody at USC understands that from top to bottom, from Cohen to Bowden to Riley. I think they all understand that there was kind of there's 2 points to this era. But from an outside perspective, it is year 5 for Lincoln Riley. Yep. The schedule they're going to have this year, like, it can't be an excuse, right? It can't be. We have Oregon, we have Indiana. We got to go to Penn State.
I agree with that.
Like, that can't be why it can't be. We have 35 freshmen, or we have a lot of sophomores that are emerging. It can't be we have a next group of guys. Like, they have to happen now, right? Like, and again, that's why I think they have a lot of guys that can, and it's a large group of guys that can contribute them now. And we keep talking about, like, it's not a normal group of freshmen that are on campus. But at the end of the day, just with it being USC, with it being year 3 of the 12-team playoff, and then the playoff obviously back in 2014, and USC still hasn't made one.
I think at the end of the day, Kendell, that's what everybody looks at. That's what they don't look at the backstory or the underlying things. They always look at have we made the playoffs, and they'll continue to put that narrative out there.
Which it is fair, because you are USC. Because there's certain programs that are like that, right? That are just different, that are a different standard. Like Ohio State, Alabama. Like, it's not okay just being 9-3, right, and not making the playoff. It doesn't matter what the coach. It doesn't matter what the coaching staff looks like. It doesn't matter what the roster looks like. What kind of rebuild or anything is going on. You're a certain type of brand, and that's what USC is.
Absolutely.
Got it. Yeah, you got to do it.
Absolutely. No, I totally agree. Here's another question: are they teaching good techniques, tackling techniques, and is it being implemented?
Yeah. So Newby actually talked about it today. He feels like they're just tackling better as a unit. You see it top to bottom. You see as they start with special teams, and I think this has been something important that I've seen, that they're never doing the same thing every day. Like, it's teaching them new things and continuing to grow on what they've just learned, right? And I think they're doing a really good job of progressing, and that's what we see a lot for the viewing periods as a media. Like, we see, stretching and then, like, individual work, and that individual work is a high emphasis on technique and fundamentals and having those down. And I think when you have the talent and you have guys that buy into that, that's when you start to see guys become, NFL draft picks.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. Look, you guys, we have some couple people that dropped off, but if you guys don't have anything else, man, we're not gonna keep Kendell forever. So look, we've been on here 48 minutes. Try to go maybe to an hour, but any more questions for Kendell? He touched a lot of good things today, man.
What do we got? We got what's in chat.
Let me see. I'm trying to scroll up real quick. Yeah, let's see. Oh, no, I agree with this. If Lincoln Riley 9 or more games, yeah, they're not getting rid of him. I agree with that.
No, he's not. I
do.
No, he's not getting fired if they go 9-3. That's not happening.
Get some of these other questions that I passed up. A lot of them. Let's see. There's so many comments. Oh, here. My question for Kendell was about the facilities. We haven't heard much about it, but when you see a glimpse of the practice clips, have you gotten to see it?
The new Bloom Center?
Yeah.
That thing is going to be sick, bro.
When is that? It's July, right? It's supposed to be July, right?
June.
Okay.
I think someone told me June the other day.
Okay.
But it's definitely before they get out there for fall camp. Like, it'll definitely be done before the season, like well before the season.
Man, that's gonna be crazy to see
It's got everything that they need. And again, like, it feels like the race to have the biggest facility isn't as impactful as it used to be. Remember, like, in the mid 2010s,
right?
Like Alabama and like A&M and all the SEC schools, like they're all in Michigan, like they're putting up like new facilities every other year, trying to top each other. It doesn't feel like that holds as much value as it once did, because I think NIL has a factor to do with that. but it does have an effect. It certainly does, and everybody that's around the campus talks about it. That thing is going to be incredible. It's going to help them, I think, just with player recovery, game preparation. It's a luxury, bro. It's what you think of. It's going to be what you think of when you visit USC.
They're not going to. They don't even have to leave that area.
When you see USC turning into what we think that they can be, having this facility aligns with that. Is kind of what it feels like to me.
No doubt, no doubt. Here's a question. I got a question for you as we get ready to close it up. But it says, will SCD be ready? This is coming from David. Will SCD be ready?
I think so. I think Gary Patterson has a lot to do with that. And again, just the assistant coaches top to bottom. It just feels like they have the staff in place that they want. Like the guys that can recruit, the guys that can develop. Coach Reed is a star. He's a rising star. We know what Coach Gonzalez has done for so many years with Coach Patterson. Skylar Jones, I think, can do a really good job for them as a new defensive line coach. Just a big opportunity for him. They should be. Again, there's a lot of talent. It's does the player development kick in, especially for some of these older guys? I think there's a lot of talented freshmen. We keep talking about them, Wayfull and Rock Hill in the secondary. But what's going to take them over the top? Because again, I don't think a lot of the freshmen are going to start necessarily on defense. Does Cam Crawford become that first team All Big Ten guy?
Right.
We talked about Jamal Jarrett. Does he become that run stuffer? Does Marcellus Williams really take that next step? I think when those guys become that, we'll know kind of what level defense that they are.
Absolutely. So yesterday, and this is the last question I want to leave with you. I heard Eckler on the Trojan tailgate show. He was talking about the linebacker room, and the way he described them, he said, we have a den, basically talking about a den of lions, some dogs. And he basically kind of went on to talk about different guys that he was able to coach up, Roquan Smith and all these different guys. So my question to you is, and now you look at Desmond Stevens, you look at all these guys, Ely, Walker.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, our linebacker room took a lot of criticism this past season. Do you see Eckler the way he's talking about it and describing it? Apparently they don't look at the linebacker room the way some of the fans look at it. What's your thoughts on the way Eckler described him? And can you give the fans some hope as far as that's concerned?
Yeah. I feel like just having Eckler, just his presence elevates any position group. If you go, they're all over social media, especially this past year when he was at Nebraska, just how fired he up is after every single play. I know like Matt Rule had to tell him to calm down a few times. I imagine Coach Riley probably, I don't know, we'll see. He probably won't do that. Maybe or not. It just kind of depends on what he does. But I think just having him alone kind of elevates the position group. Just a guy that you love to play for. We talked about it before. Just guys are excited to play special teams. With the linebacker room, they did take a lot of heat last year, and we talked about it before too. Like if the defensive line gets better, the linebacker group gets better, right? That's just this is naturally how it works, right? If you can eat up double teams, if you can move guys around, keep talking about it, if you can move the line of scrimmage, that just helps your linebackers tremendously. Devin Stevens is a guy who was still progressing into playing linebacker, right? He was a high school safety, he played receiver, he's a DB,
running back, he played everything.
he's just an athlete, and you still see that. When they're doing like ball drills and stuff like that, you can just see how athletic he is. Absolutely. Like you can see, like you watch him, it's like, yeah, that was a former receiver when he was in high school. Like you can just kind of see it. He was still learning the position last year. Same thing with Jane Walker. He didn't play his first year because he had that shoulder injury. He was still last year was his first year in major college football. I think once you have with Stevens, 20 plus games on your belt, Jane Walker has a season under his belt, you start to progress a little bit. Right? They've seen it before. They've been around it. And it's not like they didn't show anything last year. I think that's the big part of it. It's not like they didn't flash anything. It's like they weren't – I think people talk about them as if they were a liability last year. And I think that's right. Totally false. I don't think that was the case at all. They did have some bright moments. I remember Stevens against Nebraska had some really, really big moments. And I think if he becomes that consistent level, I think linebacker is one of those positions when you have more reps under you, just seeing a little bit more, you start to take a little bit more command of the defense. And I think we'll kind of see that a little bit more with those guys.
No, absolutely. I'm going to take this call real quick. Oh, he dropped off. What changes do you think we need to make to prevent these slow starts on the road? That's a great question.
That's a great question. That's going to determine everything. That
Yeah.
was their fall last year. I mean, all 3 games were on the road. Obviously TCU was the neutral site game. I mean, it starts with Jaden. I think that's plain and simple. I think it starts with Jaden. Jaden didn't play good last year on the road. The Nebraska game wasn't good. He really beat him with his legs, so I do give him a lot of credit for that. His resilience, just being resilient down the line with that and finding another way to beat you. But you can't have 2 interception games like you did against Oregon, like you did against Notre Dame. Like those can't happen. You got to take care of the football. It is Jaden. Like this is your team, right? You've started 31 games. This is your 3rd year with the program. You've been around Lincoln Riley for this many years. Like this is your team. They're gonna go as you go. Like you see that with like guys like Fernando Mendoza, with Joe Burrow, when they won the national championship with LSU. Those guys that took that huge rise their final year. You just saw them guide their team, just guys rally around him, and that's what Jaden has to be for them.
So let me ask you just kind of piggyback on that question. How much of the play calling, as far as, because we saw some different kind of things as far as, especially at the Notre Dame game, I just the throwback pass, all that type of stuff. Like, how much of a factor do you think that factors in?
Riley knew it too after the NotreAme game. He knew he knew it. Like he talked about it at the post game, but he knew as soon as he called it that wasn't right. A good play call. I think last year was his best, other than obviously what happened in the stretch of Notre Dame. I thought last year was his best season as a play caller and as a play designer since Caleb's first year. That was in my opinion.
Absolutely.
I felt like
I thought he called for the most part a good year too. Some people talk about we need an offensive coordinator. To me, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life.
He's not going to get an offensive coordinator.
No. To me, Lincoln Riley's not Lincoln Riley without calling plays, to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's doing a little bit more now. He's involved heavily in special teams. I think that's a big thing this spring. I think that's kind of I think that kind of, in my opinion, is a little bit more kind of an underrated storyline. Just how involved more he is with indie drills kind of all around. It's not just a focus on the quarterbacks and receivers and all that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I don't know. It starts with Jaden, man. If Jaden becomes what we think he can be, because I think there's so much talent in the receiver room, right? There's a lot of young talent.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of guys that are blossoming. There's a lot of guys I think that are ready to go right now, like Caden Dixon-Wyatt, like Boobie Feaster, Trent Mosley. Tron Baker's been phenomenal. It starts with that. I feel like that's the one the one thing that you can replicate like throughout college football. I don't think every formula to win a national championship is the same thing, but I think if you have that quarterback that just takes this massive rise to senior year, elevates them, wins a Heisman Trophy, and I feel like that's Jaden's that could be his story arc. Not a guarantee. Obviously, there's a lot of work that goes into that, and that's not necessarily my prediction. But I think that does a lot.
No, I agree. I agree. Definitely. The quarterback makes the world go round. I definitely believe that. We're going to take this last call, and then we'll get out of here. Young Tiny, what's the word?
Hey, what up? What up, Kendell?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Hey, congratulations, Kendell, on that move, man.
I appreciate that. Yeah, man. Blessings.
Well deserved, my brother. Well deserved.
Thank you. What you got for us?
I've been sitting here racking my brain. I'm gonna just hit you with one question. And in your opinion, what does success realistically look like for us this season?
Wow, good question.
What's my prediction, or what?
No. Not your prediction, but if you just told yourself, okay, we had a successful season, what realistically does that look like? What does success realistically look like for us this season? Whether it be record, playoff contention, or just clear improvement, from Kendell.
Yeah. Obviously, the next step is getting into the playoff. Not necessarily. I don't think it's necessarily winning the Big Ten. That's still a tall task for them. And obviously, they have the schedule that can do it. But that's kind of we were talking about it, just the reset that they had in 2024. It just feels like that's the next step, right? They go 6-6. They go 9-3. They lose these close games, right? If one thing had changed in the Notre Dame game, if one thing had changed in the Illinois game, maybe we talk about them as a playoff team. Those are the things that you correct for next season, right? And it feels like that's what you have to know. you understand what you did. And Riley talked about it before. Like, he feels like 2025 wasn't he said it's not the most talented team that we have, but it's the most important team that we have. Like, I feel like that's like the landmark that you use for them kind of taking that next step and becoming what we think they can be.
Right. Okay. Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't really have no more questions, man. I just want to, give you your flowers, man. Tell you congratulations, and that was really the question I have for you right there.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, Jay wanted to ask if I wanted to talk about it. So
yeah. Can you just kind of?
Oh, I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to.
Yeah.
My bad.
No.
No. You kind of help us segue into that before we close up. I just kind of, I want to celebrate them, and just it's a great opportunity. Kendell, can you just kind of just enlighten everybody, man, before we get out of here as to what you'll be doing? Young Tiny, I definitely appreciate you, family.
All the time, loved ones. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
What
fam.
up, Josh Gates? All right.
All right. Before we close, man, tell Kendell tell you guys what he's doing now, and then tell us where we can find you at too.
Most definitely. Yeah. So if people don't know, I brought it up before. So in addition to me covering USC, I also worked for the NFL Network. So I worked on the production side for them. So I'm mainly worked on back in the day when we had, if you ever seen it, Total Access. So I did a lot of that. It's a lot of Good Morning Football these days. So early hours for me. If anybody's ever woken up and seen Good Morning Football on the NFL Network. So the ESPN had bought out NFL Network last summer. And the merger became official on today, which happened today. So there was not everybody, but there was a group of us that were able to move on. There's still the network side, kind of we talked about Jay, I don't need to go in depth, but there's still the network side, but there's also the ESPN side. So I've transitioned over to the ESPN side, and I'm excited. I've been at the NFL Network for 5 years. And I'm excited for the new opportunity. I've done a lot of football, just covering USC and working at the NFL. So I'm hopefully excited to.
And you still will be right if you still be right for SI.
Yeah, I'm not
USC.
going. I'm not going. Yeah, I'm not going anywhere. I'll still be around. But I'm excited. Hopefully, I'll get to be involved with more sports. I guess I'm sure like a lot of you guys. I love basketball. I love baseball. Baseball team I'm an Angels fan. I let people know. I know everybody's a Dodgers fan around here. I'm an Angels fan.
Oh my God.
That's my
I'm
team,
not even
man.
about to. I'm not even about to. Man,
that's my team, man. I'll bring it up. I had to bring it up. But that's my team, man. That's where I'm from, man. That's my team. I got teams. I got loyalty, man. I can't.
I got you. I got you. I got you on that. Wow.
Yeah. So,
I didn't know. Yeah. Okay.
I gotta let people know.
You gotta let them know, man.
I'm proud of it too. It's not. Yeah, I am. It's
Ain't nothing wrong with
it. Those are my teams, man. I'm always
absolutely.
But no, I'm excited. It's again, I've been at the NFL Network for 5 years. ESPN, I know everybody's got their opinions about ESPN. I'll try to do the best that I can. I don't do people don't know, so I don't do content for them. So again, all my media stuff is for USC. I'm strictly production side for ESPN. I like doing both, man. I would have never in my life be able to think I would ever have these kind of opportunities. People that know I'm from Southern California, I grew up watching USC. I would have never imagined I'd have the opportunity to actually cover them, and grew up watching the NFL Network and ESPN and stuff like that. So to actually kind of be involved in both right now is just a tremendous blessing, and just grateful, man.
Well, look, man, everybody, hey, look, we love the work that you do, Kendell, man. You put the stuff on Twitter, man. So a lot of people, those who are connected, I retweet a lot of his stuff. We appreciate Kendell for even taking up the time.
I write too. But everybody thinks I just do videos, man. I write too. Go check them out.
Absolutely. Sports Illustrated.
Yeah, USC shows us on that side. Go check us out. We got a great page. Follow me on Twitter, _. My link is right there. I'm on Twitter. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram. A lot of USC content. If you like the Trojans, man, go check it out. Man,
Kendell is blowing up, man. Hey, he's the man. He's the man. Yeah. So we definitely appreciate him, man. Very talented, man. Very well spoken. Covers the team incredibly, and it's much love to him, man. So salute to you, man. The best is yet to come. You still young, Kendell. You got a lot. You got a lot ahead of you right now, man. So
I appreciate you, man, and having me come on, dude. It's been a blessing, man. These past few weeks.
Absolutely.
I'm on with USCJ, man.
Hey, it ain't gonna stop. We keeping you coming on, Kendell. So we appreciate you, man. So hey, let me get this last one and we out of here, man. It's been an hour before. Coach Riley is living the life of Rally with Football Performance Facility, coming on line of financial commitment from donors. Absolutely. No, I totally agree.
Yeah.
I'm late to the party today. Man, you got to go back and watch it, man. I cannot go back and talk about it. Hey, Marcus, thank you, man, for coming in. I know you late, but hey, go back and watch it, man. Kendell covers USC, and I can guarantee you're going to get all types of nuggets throughout the show. Appreciate you, Marcus. Hey, fight on, guys. Hey, so look, we are out of here, man. Until later on, man, we'll have Kendell on sometime next week, and, I'll post it, let you guys know, man, but appreciate you guys. It's all love, Marcus. I appreciate you, family. Hey, so look, until later on, listen, man, everybody, absolutely, let me put these out there because everybody's showing love to Kendell real quick. Much love to Kendell.
I appreciate y'all, man. Respect.
Absolutely. We got almost 400 people in here, man, so we appreciate everybody for tapping in. All right, so look, until later on, listen, everybody stay blessed, man. We are out of here. Fight on. Let me end this, make sure it's ended real quick.
Yes, sir.